A biblical perspective on life, culture and current events. This is 2020 on Vision.
Well, an opportunity today to explore something that we don't often give a lot of thought to because, as you know, we talk a lot about pro-life issues and oftentimes that's in a region of politics, one side against another, or it's a political campaign that is anti-abortion and is pro-life. But what about the other big dimension in there? Those women who are caught up in what for them is a complete disruption of their life. They're in crisis when they have an unexpected pregnancy and they want that, what they see as a problem, to go away. Sometimes we think that's not something that the church gets involved in, but of course the church does get involved because the church wants to throw its arms around that young woman and to give her levels of comfort. Well, we're back today with some more insights from Lara, Malin, Wynyard, the president of Pregnancy Help Australia. Lara, a special welcome back to 2020.
Hello, Neil. Thank you.
Lara, this is the interesting thing, isn't it? That when a young woman has an unexpected pregnancy, she doesn't know what to do. This is a crisis in her life. How do you describe it?
Yeah, it's been explained as like a tornado or, just a mighty, mighty storm that can turn your life upside down. And really, even if you've never experienced an unplanned pregnancy or, a challenging pregnancy, every one of us have experienced something in our life that has come unexpected and probably not welcome, and it's disrupted. It's a disruptive change. So in light of all this, I suppose for your listeners to just for a moment think about that, what is the natural human response when you're faced with an unexpected disruptive change?
Well, I know that there'll be some emotions. Some women will feel a level of guilt and shame. Some, unfortunately, not even nice to say, will think that having an abortion is another form of contraception. But I imagine it's an emotional hit for most women who experience an unexpected pregnancy. Have you got insights into the initial emotions that a woman feels when she's pregnant, but she wasn't expecting that?
Yeah, that's the thing. If she is definitely in possibly an unreliable or unstable relationship, or even if she's in a stable relationship, it can be very scary even to just open up to the partner or the family about this discovery, because there's this overwhelming sense that, well, maybe this is going to be a big disappointment. And you hit the nail on the head when you said shame. There's this instant sense of, what have I done? How could I have let this happen? And depending on what is going on in their life at the moment, whether finances are tight, whether, we don't know what's going on, but to throw something like this into the mix, it's just a whirlwind. And so I guess for a lot of women, when they actually reach out to us, or if they've reached out to you, the first thing is to recognise just how brave that is to actually reach out and seek support, because it's very vulnerable.
We could moralise about whether this should have happened, but a Christian response after the fact really is a right response, is to embrace and support and put judgments aside. What do you think? What are you seeing in Christian responses where you've got your little hubs of love set up in churches, different places around the country? Yeah,
so those that are really called to pregnancy help, they naturally are very compassionate people. And I'm not saying not everyone's compassionate. I'm just saying that in the body of Christ, people are called to different areas. Some people are more called to political lobby, and they do a great job at what they do. But our audience is completely different. It requires someone who really can slip into that heart space where they're not going to jump to try and force an agenda. they're not going to jump and try and fix the situation. They're actually going to be able to provide a very safe landing space for that woman to simply be who she is, share exactly how she's feeling. As much as it might be hard to hear, it's very normal that she might be saying, I don't know if I can continue. I don't know. And they're the kind of people that are in this space, people that understand the cry of a heart that is in distress and just the many fearful thoughts, like what it's like to be up against fear.
You no doubt have lots of personal conversations with young women, and 43 centres now, Pregnancy Help Australia, around every state and territory except Tasmania. Tens of thousands of women sharing and telling their story. Are there common threads, common themes in the things that they share?
I was thinking about this, and honestly, I've been serving in pregnancy help since 2012, and it hasn't changed. The common thread is fear, and it's around how am I going to do this, or what is this going to look like, and how can I afford this, or how are my family going to react, or it's a lot of the same, similar. Or, they might even just be in a situation that hasn't been good for some time. Maybe their relationship hasn't been healthy. Maybe they haven't known how to get out. And maybe they also don't have a clue how they're going to even have anything left over this week anyway after paying rent and food. It's this financial concern and these fears around my life is over. I'm not going to be able to fulfill any of my dreams now if I'm pregnant. And so those are the common threads. We do get a lot of women and families that are maybe aren't eligible for Medicare. They're on a visa, and so that's even more heightened. How are they going to pay these hospital bills? How are they going to do this? It just all looks impossible. So it really is this hopelessness that they're sitting in. And that's where the pregnancy help centres come alongside and all of a sudden have these threads of hope where they can say, well, did you know that this is available for you? And all of a sudden some of the pressure can be relieved. Or what does it look like if this is available for you?
And I imagine that most of the counselling that women around Australia are getting is nothing like the counselling that you offer, because at Pregnancy Help Australia you're into affirming life. But you must have some who'll come for counselling and you make those affirmations about the value of that baby. But you must shed a tear from time to time when your advice is rejected and some go their own way along what we'd call a bad path. That does happen, doesn't it?
Well, that's the thing. We believe in the biggest gift that God gave us is free will. But you can only exercise that gift if you are given the dignity to have knowledge, to have information. You can't make a fully informed choice or a fully owned choice unless you have been given the dignity to know what alternative choices are available. So we would never say we're advice giving, but we would say that we're there to listen. We're there to make sure you've got every single bit of information about these options that are available to you. And of course, sometimes women, they will go ahead and maybe they will have that abortion. But and that's part of the heart of what we do, is we believe that we've done everything we can to provide the support, to provide the options, but then we allow that woman to go freely. And God still works in these decisions, as he does in all of our lives. And those seeds that are sown, they're still seeds of love. Those women or couples, they'll remember that centre and they'll remember that as a place that welcomed them as they are, and that they could come back to if they are struggling afterwards as well. So This is the beauty of a pregnancy centre. It's non-clinical care. So it's very hospitable. It feels different to a clinical environment. Often those that come receive more time to share, and they feel like someone's really there to honour their interests and not their own agenda. So we know we have our values, but it's not our place to impose our values. It's our place to empower that woman to know how worthy she is, how precious she is, and how we are there to support her in her motherhood journey, no matter what it looks like.
This is the soft dimension of what we might call a pro-life approach, where you have some who are a little hard-headed, but certainly engaging in the political activist process of looking to engage and change the dreadful laws that we have here in Australia around abortion. But we're talking about the softer side today. And just quickly to mention, you've got these little hubs of love. And a lot of churches have taken up the opportunity to start a little hub of love around different places, states and territories around Australia. You also have your national helpline, which is 1300 139 313. And I know last time we were talking, you were saying, people should put that into their phone now, because when you come across that young woman who has an unexpected pregnancy, you need to know how you can offer some assistance and get her some options that might be other than what she'll get when she goes to a typical counselling session. Hey, Lara Malin Wynyard is president of Pregnancy Help Australia. The Pregnancy Help Australia website is pregnancyhelpaustralia.org.au. There's 43 centres, every state and territory except Tasmania. And so I think, Lara, you probably wouldn't mind hearing from someone in Tasmania wanting to help set up some sort of a Pregnancy Help Australia centre there too. Lara, thanks so much for giving us another great update today on 2020.
You're welcome. Thank you, Neil.
Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au.